Well, hello everyone. Welcome to Boomer Time. I'm your host, Nancy Cogar. Got a great show planned for you today. I'm joined with one of my newest friends, but we are, I believe, very like-minded in planning, and helping to ensure a better quality of life for you as you grow older. My pleasure to welcome Dr. Joe Casciani to the show. Hi, Joe. How you doing today?
Hi, Nancy. Thank you very much. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Yeah,
Me too. Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
I think it's so important if you're out there and you're listening. You may have heard me say this before, but more of us are living longer, right? And that even means upwards of 100. So if you're living longer and you didn't plan, then you're really planning for disaster in a lot of ways. The world is changing and you've got to plan, you've got to have that intent. And so, Joe, you run the Living to 100 Club. That was going to be my segue over to you, but
Yeah, yeah.
what I know this, but it seems like you've translated your passion from your career into more of a broad advocacy role, and I
Mhm.
really admire that. But what is Living to 100 all about?
Yeah, well, it's something I came up with about 7 or 8 years ago. I had worked for a few decades with older adults in skilled nursing facilities and
Mm,
did psychology services and actually managed some group practices. We were in several states, so we contracted with the nursing homes and hired psychologists. I did that. It was very rewarding. You know, understood the need for older adults and caregivers, paid and unpaid. And I sold that business 2018. And I started my club really to kind of reach people in the community. Still living at home or living independently, more or less. And I wanted to kind of reach out and talk about education and
mm,
inspiration about aging because so many people see aging as a period of decline and loss and
right.
dependency and helplessness. And I just wanted to help people understand that there are a lot of opportunities if we look at aging as a time of growth and
Hmm.
facing new challenges and meeting those challenges. There are many doors that we can open, and that's different from the perception my parents had and earlier generations had, of course.
Yeah.
So the club it's a great destination when I talk about living to 100, but it's more than a destination. It's a mindset. I call it
Mhm.
a mindset about aging well. No matter what challenges get in the way, we can still stay positive and look at what's next. Look at what do I have ahead of me now that I've retired, or now that I've moved, or maybe now that I've had a stroke, or maybe now that I'm, dependent on others. There are always upsides to these changes. And that's what I'd like to talk about. Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, I find people that come to see me or watch the podcast say they don't know where to turn because they run into these issues, and it's almost like an issue unto themselves. It's experienced when it happens, and we haven't done anything in advance because it wasn't in our
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah.
Um, and then a lot of times, you don't know what to do next, and it can be really stressful. You need help from people. You really
Sure.
do.
Sure.
So you connecting those dots for them?
Yeah. Well, I want to help people think there are some solutions.
Mhm.
It's very easy to have this kind of narrow tunnel vision about aging and all that
Mhm.
brings, and we dread aging. And I like to help people say, look, there are resources, there are things in the community. There's a ton of help out there for people who are stuck, who are facing limited choices. And it's really the whole notion that I can take some ownership in what's
Mhm.
happening. I don't have to wait for people to come to me or knock on my door and say, "How can we help you?" I can take that initiative and really look at what my needs are and try to understand where can I go. And
Right.
for your clients, Nancy, people who are facing challenges with their estate planning and other matters, um, you're providing the great service to offer that
Thank you.
clarity and kind of resources that people want. And I think more about education than anything else.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah.
that we know about aging and a lot that we can do that, like I said earlier, generations didn't think about. Yeah,
No, no, it's almost like we've got a whole new season ahead of us, even if we retire in our what was our quote unquote career, but then finding an opportunity to do something thereafter,
yeah,
you know,
yeah,
redefine yourself or
yeah,
kind of spreading your wings that way.
yeah. I love that term redefinition. I mean, we're not limited. We're not defined by who we were yesterday.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
know. I think most people contemplate that though. They get so used to what they're in,
yeah.
but you
And
know,
it's hard to let go of that because that's comfortable and familiar and predictable. And we say, well, I was an accountant for 50 years, and maybe I don't need to be an accountant. Maybe I can look at something else, 180 degrees away from that career. And
yeah.
that's important because there are a lot of upsides. And that's the beauty of this because once we let go of that notion that aging means, a downward slope, we can say, wow, there's more opportunities than I
Mm.
ever had to enrich my life, to grow, to reach out and connect with people. So that's what my club is all about. Yeah.
Do you think it's cultural? I mean, I see a lot of other places in the globe treating older people differently, and there is kind of a more of a what I would say is kind of an intentional effort to build communities that are
Mm,
accessible and
yeah.
provide for a lot of these issues that come up.
Yeah. I think there may be something to that. I'm not as close to that
Mm,
whole notion as others are, gerontologists and all, but I
mhm,
think, you know, with the disbursement of the single family and people living in different areas, it's hard to maintain that kind of connection and support and kind of interdependence that we used to have
mhm.
a
Yeah,
generation or two ago. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But it's certainly what I try to share, and I know we've talked about this before, is having more options when you get older and just welcoming that.
Yes, for sure. For
Yeah.
sure. And just to recognize there are options. And I say we've got to knock on the doors. We can't wait for people to knock on our doors.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
So from in your perfect kind of world, what does the aging process look like to you? What would you want for other people?
Yeah. Well, of course, there are changes. There are physiological changes that come with aging. That's pretty well known, but there are other ideas about, um, even the whole idea about dementia and Alzheimer's
Yeah.
disease. That's a tragic course for many people. But we are learning that even some dementias do not progress to that kind of neurodegenerative condition.
Mhm.
There are dementias that are treatable. I mean, it sounds strange, but the Lancet Commission and the British Medical Journal published a study showing that about 40% of the dementias around the world are due to modifiable risk factors
Mm.
like toxins in the air, like nutrition, like hearing loss, depression. So that still
Even
leaves,
exercise, I
yeah,
see
yeah,
that for blood flow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So, but that still leaves 60% that's maybe irreversible, but 40% is huge. So to me, it's like let's look at our strengths. Let's look at our resources. Let's not focus on what's wrong. Let's
Mhm.
focus on what's right. When I do groups, I have people talk about what they cannot do, um,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what they can still do. And let's not focus on what's wrong, but let's focus on it's that glass half full or
Mm.
glass half
Mindset.
empty. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I just quickly, I'll tell you an exercise I love to do with groups, large groups. Maybe in a large meeting room, I say, okay, Everybody on the right half of the room, you're the optimist. Put your optimism hat on and look
Mhm.
around and find everything that's right about the room. Maybe the sunlight, the fixtures, the plants look healthy, whatever. And then everybody on the other side of the room, you're the pessimist. Put your pessimism hat on and look and find everything that's wrong. The scratches on the walls, stains on the carpet, maybe a broken chair, anything that's wrong. And then I reconvene after a minute or two and I get their input. And yeah, they come up with the positives and they come up with the negative. And I say, look, it's the same room.
Mhm.
What are
Yeah.
you looking for? If you're looking for what's good about it, you'll find it. If you're looking for what's wrong, you'll find that too. So it is
Mm.
that perception, what we choose to pay attention to. Yeah, we can pay attention to a lot of our losses, or we can pay attention to our strengths, what are our residual strengths, what we're still good at. And
Mhm. Yeah.
that's an important mindset shift. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
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 Um, well, I know that I am a member of the Living to 100 Club.
Yes.
And, give guys, out there an idea of, kind of what you offer, some of the things they might find if they
Sure.
became a member.
Yeah. Well, there's really three what I call pathways. It makes that together they make up my network, what I call my Living to 100 network. And the three pathways are my main website, living to 100.club, and that's a collection of my blogs and podcasts. I've got over 270 episodes now of
That's great.
podcasts, so people can yeah, it's still a joy for me to do these. So the Living200 Club has the blogs and podcasts, and then I have a new store that sells a series of card decks that I've created
Mm,
for senior living communities. People who are viewing this on camera can see the decks
mhm.
behind me.
The
And,
pastel
it's
cards. Yeah.
it's audio.
Mhm,
Yeah, there's 60 cards, and it's all about activities and topics and inspirational stories on different psychological topics like starting new chapters and what opportunities lie ahead, overcoming depression. So that's my second pathway, and the third pathway is my newest. That's my community forum, living
mhm,
to 100
mm.
dot community. And this is where people can come in and join the group and interact. And we do live roundtables every month. We have a lot of opportunities for interaction and discussion. You can't get that on a podcast, and you certainly
Yeah.
can't get that on a website. So I want to create some platform for people to actually jump in and participate in these discussions. So there's a free level on the community, and there's a paid level. Paid level gives access to more valuable
Mhm,
resources. But that's
mhm.
my newest venture, and together these make up the Limit to 100 network. My three pathways. I love
Well,
doing this stuff. I just
yeah, I can tell. You're
I
just
just love doing
passionate
this
about
stuff.
it.
It's just
And and
sure.
and your perspective and, being in the nursing homes, treating the
Yeah.
depression and
Mm.
the other, psychological,
Mhm. Sure.
responses to, being in bad health and being in a
Yeah.
away from home and all that.
Yeah.
You took something negative and now you're using that to create
Yeah.
something positive. So I admire that.
Yeah, thanks. Just quickly, I can talk about what, shifted in my mind where I could see some patients in the nursing home coming in with a debilitating stroke. And,
Mhm,
there were two groups. One group would dig in and get to physical therapy and progress, and the other group would throw their hands up and say, I don't have it in me anymore. And I always wondered what's the difference, all things being equal.
mhm,
What's the difference between these two groups? And it's that attitude and outlook
mm.
and kind of, we call it resilience, we call it grit, we call it fire inside. There's a lot of names for it now, but we all have that. And I say, as long as we're taking a breath, we're able to get in touch with that. Many people say, "No, I don't have it. It's all gone. It's all, wiped out." No, I think we all have that resilience, and
Yeah.
that's what gets us over those, the challenges like with the clients that you face. It's that
Mhm.
drive and determination that pushes us over those hurdles.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, that's great encouragement for a
yeah,
lot of people out there, I'm sure. I'm just
yeah.
going to take a quick break, but I hope everybody sticks with us. We're talking with Dr. Joe about living to 100 and his Living to 100 Club, and how you can do some simple things to make your older years even better. So, be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Boomer Time. I'm so glad you're here, and I hope you're learning more and becoming more aware by watching Boomer Time. I know I am learning things from Dr. Joe Casciani, um, and I just love his enthusiasm. So it
Yeah.
is wonderful to have someone who sees what I do, that being prepared for your older years can lead to all kinds of opportunities. So, Dr. Joe, wanted to ask you, of course, one of the other things I try to warn people about is this silver tsunami that, we're starting to hear more and more about. Um, Sounds ominous, and in some ways, it is potentially ominous. Of
Mhm.
course, for folks out there, just there's going to be what 10 years from now, there'll be more people over age 65 than any other age group, I think, in the United States. So more boomers aging out. And that's how do you see that,
Yeah.
from your professional perspective? How do you see that
Mhm.
changing things in our communities or putting more pressure on, certain aspects of our
Yeah.
community?
Yeah. Well, for sure. The demographics are showing the increase in this 60 plus population, and that's the silver tsunami. Um, Frankly, I had a conversation with a good friend 2 years ago, and he said that whole term has a negative connotation because
It sure
tsunamis
does.
are,
Hmm.
devastating to communities. Well, just like is the glass half full or is the glass half empty, look at the upsides to the increased senior population. Look
Right.
at the available resources, employees, people to mentor younger age groups, people to start new businesses. One of my card decks talks about opportunities for seniors, and one of the cards, there's a bunch of cards in each box, and one of the cards is how do you rebrand yourself as a senior? How do you
Oh, I
how
love
do
it.
you? It's great because you
Mhm.
can look at. I mean, there's a whole description of things you can do to create a whole new brand of who you are and
Mm,
what your view is, what your new identity is as a senior.
mhm,
So yeah, silver tsunami means there's going to be greater, uh, you know, demand for healthcare services and housing and, affordable housing. We're facing
mhm,
a lot of challenges with affordable housing. Costs keep going up, but
yeah,
affordability is not always there. So yeah, especially healthcare. I think that's going to be especially burdensome.
yeah,
Right now, it might take a couple of months to get an appointment with a specialist, and that's not going to come down because not as many
mm,
people are going into healthcare. There's a lot more openings for geriatricians than we ever saw before. These are medical doctors who specialize in geriatrics.
mm,
Um, so the shortage is not going to improve greatly. So again, half full or half empty. It's the expression I use. If you've got an 8-ounce glass and you've got 4 ounces of water in it, it's both half full and half empty.
yeah.
You choose, right? So is the growing senior population going to be a burden or an asset to our community?
Right, and I love your perspective.
Yeah,
It reminded me of the fact that we've got technology that can do forecasting now
yeah,
for storms on the
yeah,
approach, and silver tsunami, yeah, does indicate something that can be really devastating, but we have the opportunity to do something about it now.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and
That's right.
change is always difficult, but are there some things that even subtle changes, new habits, things that you see? Aging adults incorporating into their lives that make sustainable differences later on?
Sure. Yeah, that's a good question, Nancy, because it's very easy to stay in that comfort zone, and
Mhm,
I'm not going to try anything new or I'm not going to do anything different. But we need to. We
mm,
need to look at ways to change and grow. And behavior change is very difficult. I've worked with that my whole career, and
Mm,
people don't want to change. People don't like new things, but just like stepping out of that comfort zone gives us new opportunities, new growth. We can look at change too, and that I think things like nutrition and diet.
mm,
We know a lot about what proper nutrition is and what we should avoid and what we should increase in our menus. Physical exercise. There's no substitute for it. And people say,
mhm.
well, find a way to enjoy it. Frankly, I've never found a way to enjoy exercise, but I
Yeah, I
still
can
do.
think of a lot of other things I like to be doing, so.
That's right. Yeah, I'm on a treadmill every morning, but it's not easy.
Yeah.
But anyway, the important thing about behavior change is we don't look for big change. We have to look for small, tiny turtle steps.
Mhm.
Not what I'm going to do in 6 months, but what am I going to do tomorrow that I'm
Right.
not doing today? So, yeah, we can kind of step out of that comfort zone, drop the walls that we've created, and take that step. Can I do something today that I didn't do yesterday? Can I reach out to my, cousin, in another state, or can I write a
Mhm.
letter? Can I, you know, look into this volunteer opportunity? It's these small steps, and over time, the more steps we take, the more confidence we build, the more momentum, and it gets easier. And that's how we change behavior through these tiny
Right.
steps. Not setting a goal, but what's my objective for tomorrow? So yeah, we can give up some of those old positions and try something new and take
Yeah.
tiny steps. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, and, I find you probably encourage a lot of the people around you that were otherwise afraid of doing that or talking themselves out
Mm,
of it anyway, so
yeah, yeah.
that's great community building, right?
Yeah, for sure, for
Yeah.
sure, yeah. Yeah, and people, the whole importance of, connection and engagement, and,
Mhm.
we know that's one of the essential ingredients, for longevity, that we have to maintain these connections, and we reach out
Mhm.
and form new relationships and, talk to that neighbor down the street that we don't talk to, or make those phone calls or write that letter. But that connection engagement has a ton of benefits for us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
We were built for community, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um, one of the other types of people that are in my community here, of course, are a lot of the adult children of
Mm,
older adults that are, finding themselves in that role as caregiver, maybe full time,
mm,
maybe part time, oftentimes unpaid.
yeah.
Um, I hear from them a lot, especially when it comes to this, lack of a better way of putting it, the stubbornness of
Mm,
parents to allow them to help, to
yeah,
be receptive to something different. What do
yeah.
you think about all that? It
Yeah,
is a challenge.
you're right. That's a big concern and a tough one to get over. You know, um, I have a healthy respect for denial. Might sound odd, but people who say, "No, I'm okay. I'm managing myself.
Mhm,
My wife died, or my kids are far away, but I'm okay." So we can't take that away from people, but
mhm,
we can give them information. And adult children are really wanting to take care of mom or dad and make sure they're safe and make sure they're getting good meals, and they
mhm.
want to do everything. But we have to respect the individual's thinking style and um, kind of rigidity. And I'm not saying that's good. It's not good usually, but we can't
Yeah.
change our parents. We can only give them information. Dad, I see that you've lost some weight, or maybe your medications, or you're not taking your medication. Here's some information for you to help you make a more informed decision. We can't take it
Mhm.
away. We can't do it for them, but we can give them the information to help them make. And it's really all about making informed decisions. The more
Yeah.
information you say, well, maybe you're right. Maybe I should consider. We can't do it for them, but we can give them information give them the whole picture.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can't make anybody do anything that they don't
No,
wanna do. Yeah.
no, that's right. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um,
yeah.
well, I have a wide variety of people that I help. As a matter of fact, I was up on, Signal Mountain here in Chattanooga this morning visiting
Mm.
with a 94-year-old man that
Yeah, yeah,
still lives on his own and, is still contemplating what he should be doing for the rest
yeah,
of his life.
yeah. Good
Somebody
for him.
like that, you know, I think it's awesome that
Mm.
he says, "I'm still here," and, wants
That's great.
I got a great relationship with him, but someone
Yeah,
that's of that age,
yeah,
what are your thoughts about
mm,
what you do in those final years?
yeah. Well, my big thing is that age is only a number.
I
Let's not get caught up in what a 90-year-old or what a 60-year-old should or shouldn't be doing because we're all different. And
Mhm.
that 94-year-old may be better than a 64-year-old who lives next door.
Yeah,
So we take them at what their abilities are, what their performance is, what they're capable of doing. And if they need some help, if we need something to complement what they're doing on their own. So we can't get stuck on that number itself. But again, the 94-year-old who's living on his own, help him give him that information,
yeah,
Bert, you're not thinking about this aspect of your estate, or you're not considering this matter with your family. So here's some things you need to keep in mind, and
mhm.
kind of respect his ability to consider all of this. And you
Sure, and he had reminded me this morning even, "I'm the one making the decisions." It's like, "Yep, yep,
of
yep."
course, of course,
Well, I
that's
I
what you
love
get.
resources and,
Yeah,
I anytime I can share resources on the
mm,
podcast here on Boomer
yeah,
Time, I
yeah,
do that, and it's obvious you've got lots of
yeah,
resources that are available through,
yeah,
what you've created.
yeah.
Um, can you let folks know again how they can get in touch with you, how they can, subscribe to the Living
Sure,
to 100 Club? What do they need
sure.
to do?
Yeah, you can go to my main website, livingto100.club, and you can sign up for my monthly digest. It's a newsletter that comes out, and you can get links to articles and links to information and talks that I've given. You can go to livingto100.solutions for the
Mm,
card deck information. They're really designed for senior living communities, but if any members of your audience are interested, you can get a lot of information. And the third is a living to 100 dot community. These are all custom URLs. So these are links to
mm.
my websites. The latest piece that I've really started enjoying is a TikTok account. I don't know if any of your listeners are followers, but I love TikTok. It's easy to get around. I can put videos that are 30 or 40 seconds, my favorite
Oh,
quote.
yeah.
Here's some idea. So at Living to 100 Club, that's the account, and sign up and be a follower. And again, I'm really enjoying that because
Yeah.
I love the short clips, and they're inspiring and also educational, which is on
Yeah,
my on my business.
funny too,
Yeah,
fun.
yeah,
I see some older adults even on Instagram, and
yeah,
they're showing their personality and really, I think,
yeah.
having
Why
a great
not?
time, and it's fun, so
I've got a picture of me sitting in my drum set and trying to. I took up drum playing a couple of years ago, and that one got more hits and more likes than
yeah.
the most profound quotes I've added. So,
Yeah, I know.
who
I
cares?
know the
Yeah,
feeling.
yeah,
So,
yeah, yeah.
well,
So those three sites and my TikTok account. Yeah, and I'm
okay,
on
well,
LinkedIn, of course, at Facebook, but TikTok
nice.
is a new one for me. Yeah,
Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate being connected with you and for you taking time to be on Boomer Time today. You have so much to offer, and you're just, you know, so encouraging, and your energy is just wonderful. So I know it's going to be a benefit to those folks out there that are
mm,
seeing
I
this.
hope so.
And I hope we have the opportunity to chat again. Come
That'd
back
be
on Boomer
great.
Time anytime. So
That'd be great. Yeah, we'll get you back on my podcast and we'll talk some more too.
yeah,
Thanks so much for this opportunity, Nancy. I always enjoy talking about these subjects, as you know, but I really appreciate being given the opportunity to talk.
Yeah, and I hope it inspires somebody
Yeah,
out there.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's
And
great.
keep up the good work. You're doing
Well,
a great
thank you.
job. Yeah.
Thank you. And thanks for watching today, Boomer Time. As you know, we are weekly. And if you've just found us in this episode, well, congratulations and welcome. Uh, please subscribe to the podcast. All you have to do is go to wherever you listen to podcasts. We're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on all of them out there that you usually use. And like us and subscribe. And you can also reach out to me on my website, nancycogar.com. And I'm always interested in when people share. So it's amazing and just wonderful place to be. So Dr. Joe, thanks again, and look
You're
forward.
most welcome. Most
Yeah.
welcome. Thank you.